In this video, I'm going to talk about creating variables in Visual Basic. So, what a variable is in any programming language is like a storage bin where we can store information. And the nice thing about storing information is we can then retrieve it later, or we can modify it later. I like to think of the idea of a variable as being a box. And a box, you can put stuff in, you can look at what's in there, you can take it out and put something else in it. Variables come in different data formats, but I'm going to show you my first example using a string variable. And we've already used strings a little bit before. I'm going to create a label, and in the label I'm going to say, what is your name? And then I'm going to create a text box. And in the text box, this is where you would put your name. So let me put a button. And that's where I'm going to put the code in here. So to create a variable, what we do in Visual Basic is we use a keyword called dim, D-I-M. And what dim means is create a variable. It declares and allocates storage space for one or more variables. And you can see that appeared on this screen. So I use a keyword dim, and then I give the variable a name. This variable is going to be a string, so I'm going to put 3 letters str, and then I'm going to say first name. So string first name is now declared as a string variable. Now right now it says there's a bit of an issue. It underlines it and it says it's not used yet. That's right, I haven't used it yet. So I'm going to now use it. And what I do is I'm going to use the assignment statement. So I'm going to say str first name, and I'm going to assign it me text box 1's text. And so the text in text box 1 is going to be assigned to this variable. So whatever you have typed in text box 1, that information is going to go and now be allocated to this variable called string first name. If I want to use this, I can use it, and I'll show you, give you an example by using something called a message box. So a message box displays whatever you type in there. So I'm going to say message box, hello there, and then I'm going to add to it, and I use the ampersand to add to the string. So we've already used strings before where you put them in quotation marks. But this time I want to say message box, hello there, and then I'm going to join to it string first name, which I have no idea what it is, but whatever you put in the text box will be assigned to first name, and when you press the button it's going to say hello there in the first name. So let me just run this program as an example of a simple string variable. And so my string variable called first name. So if I push the button, string first name is equal to the text in the text box, which was nothing, and it just says hello there. If I actually put my name in here as Mr. Poi, when I press the button, string first name is going to be equal to the text that was put in here, which is Mr. Poi, and I expect it to say hello there, Mr. Poi, and indeed it does say hello there, Mr. Poi. Okay, not too exciting, but you see what a variable is. Let me use a variable in another data type, such as a number. So I'm going to, instead of declare a variable called, I'll use the same variable first name, even though it wouldn't be a very good variable name. But let's say it's going to be a number, and I use the term double as a number. And double is basically any number you can type that's positive or negative, and it may or may not have a decimal pretty well. And so string first name is going to be equal to the text in the text box, and this time I'm going to say the number entered multiplied by itself is, and what string what I'm going to do is I'm going to say string first name is equal to string first name. Oops, sorry. It's going to equal the value, and I use the val statement. So the value of what was entered in the text box multiplied by itself, which is the value that's entered in the text box. So I'm going to take the value, and I have to use val because I'm casting. I need to take this, which is a string, and turn it into a double. So it's going to turn it by val is going to turn it into a number. So first name times the text box times the value in the text box, and then I'm going to message box that. And so I'm going to change the form and say enter a number. And now when I press play, my enter the number program is going to take a number. So if I put the number 5 and I press the button, it said the number entered multiplied itself is 25. And so if I entered 15, it will say 225. If I enter 1.23, it's going to say the number multiplied is 1. It's going to do the calculations. Okay, last program I want to do. That wouldn't be a good name for a variable. So I'm going to modify this program again. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the name of my variable, and I'm going to call it length. And because it's a double, I'm going to call it dBl length. And I'm also going to create a variable called width, dBl width. And then finally, I'm going to create a variable called area. Now you probably know where I'm going on this. So what I would do is I'd say the length is going to equal the value of text box 1. And in my form, I'm going to say, instead of enter a number, I'm going to say enter the length. And the next thing I'm going to do is put another text box in. Put it right below it and line it up. And I'll put another label. And this one I'll say enter the width. And the width, dBl width, is going to equal the value of me text box 2's text. So whatever text I put in text box 2 is going to be equal to that. And then I'm going to do a calculation for area. So area is equal to the width multiplied by the length. And you probably know that from math class. So to calculate area, I say width multiplied by length is the area. And so I'm going to say the area of the rectangle is, and I'll tell it to display the area. So when I press play here, I've made a simple area program. So if the width is 5 meters and the length is 5 meters and the width is 3 meters, the area of the rectangle would be 15. So what kind of data can I use here? So I've used double, and that's for numbers. I've used strings. That's for characters. Another data type we can have is called integer. And we'll use integers when we count. And the integer data type is used for whole numbers that are positive and negative. There's also another data type called dates. And use that if you want to enter dates. Another one that we might use coming up is called char. And that's for a single character in a string. And of course, the string variable are going to be the most common ones we're going to use. So this was your introduction to variables. So variables are storage bins. We declare them by using the dim statement, DIM. They come in different data types, which can be important. Integers for whole numbers, doubles for decimals, strings for characters, for example. And we can, once we declare them, we can assign things to them, like we did here. And we can also change them and do calculations, like you'll see here, where I use the multiplication to multiply two of them together.